this is a woman who was in that sandwich time of life where she had a son in 8th grade who was, having a hard time in his own ways, and her father was in a nursing home. And the nursing home was about an hour away, so she'd go for a visit once a week. And he had dementia and would repeat himself a lot, but clearly the big message that he gave her was, please stay, please hang out, please come more often. And it wasn't resentful. It was just, he really liked having her around. But her inner, this was a stimulus, her inner reaction was feeling tight and resentful, feeling the need to justify herself because she felt she was failing. It triggered off her sense of not enough, that she was failing her son. She wasn't, showing up enough for her son. She was failing her father, failing on all fronts. And then she was also living with the sense that she would be, how incredibly regretful she'd be if he died. And this was their last years together or whatever. So this is what she brought her practice to, okay? The stimulus again was, her father saying, oh, I wish you'd be around more, her son acting out in ways, and her then going into that looping of what's wrong with me, and also blaming them in different ways, and then the feelings of fear and shame and so on. So her practice was, first, to notice the thoughts. I'm a bad daughter, I'm a bad mother. And just whisper, please don't believe this. Just that. Please don't believe this. And then she would come into her body. She'd say, please just come and touch what's here, right here in this body. And she'd feel what was there, and she'd feel the fear and kind of shame. And then, please, may I be kind. Put her hand on her heart. And she used those phrases I just mentioned. She used, I'm sorry. I'm sorry meaning, I'm sorry these painful feelings are here, and I love you. So after one visit with her father, she sat in the parking lot and she was practicing this and saying, kind of trying not to believe the thoughts and saying yes and being kind towards all the tightness and fear. And, really feeling the waves of tears and grief, and realized that underneath it all, she just loved her son and she loved her father, and she didn't want to let them down, but more than that, she just wanted to trust the loving. Just trust the loving. In a way, that was her realization. It's like, don't believe the thoughts. Come into a wise relationship with yourself. And then just trust the loving, trust who we are. And that was the gift of the 3 invitations, was that, and she had, by the way, many rounds with any of these practices of presence. It's like you have neural pathways that are deeply grooved of how we are, these habits. It takes a lot of rounds to decondition. And every time some part of us says, please, don't believe this thought. Please come into presence. Please be kind. Every round, there is a loosening of the old identity. Every round, there's a little more space, a little more homecoming to the awareness and heart that's really our essence, to that spirit. Every round. So for her, after some rounds, she started noticing more and more. She'd be with her father, and when he'd say something like, oh, I wish you'd be coming more, or whatever, rather than trying to justify herself, she would just feel a wave of, oh, he loves me, I love him. It was okay. The imperfectness was okay. And he'd be repeating what he repeated. He'd look at this tree out the window and say, isn't that a beautiful tree? And she could just relax and really go, yeah, that's a really beautiful tree. Because she wasn't wound up in that looping that we've been talking about of stimulus reaction. She was responding, not reacting to the situation.